and guide me into the best of morals, for none can guide to the best of morals but thee. And turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals, for none can turn from me the evil and the indecent morals but thee. And O Allah, make Muhammad successful, and make the true followers of Muhammad successful, as thou did make Abraham and the true followers of Abraham successful. For surely thou art praised and magnified. And O Allah, bless Muhammad, and bless the true followers of Muhammad, as thou didst bless Abraham and the true followers of Abraham. For surely thou art praised and magnified. Amen. You may be seated. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his coming and appearing to us in the personage of Master W. Farad Muhammad. And we thank him that after 3 years and 4 months, that he would give to us his wise choice in the messenger Messiah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And to the two of them, we are eternally grateful, and if we lived 1,000 years, we can never thank them enough for the gift of guidance and sublime mercy in our midst in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's in their names I'd like to greet you all once again with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. And welcome, dear family, to our Sunday meeting at Muhammad's Mosque number 12. We thank you for being here on time, and thank you for submitting to our check procedure. For the check procedure is very necessary today because we live in very diverse times, as the scripture teaches us. And we are a people who, we can't go to sleep. We, as Jesus said in the Bible, we can let no man deceive us. So all are checked that come through the door, starting with myself and everyone that you see in here. So in our minds, we can feel comforted that we are all in the most safe place that we could be anywhere on the planet today because of our check procedure. We thank Master Farad Muhammad, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the honorable Louis Farrakhan for having the foresight, the hindsight, and the introspection to know that the time that we live in, such a process is needed. So thank you for submitting to the check procedure. I'd like to also mention to us, brothers and sisters, this jewel that I have before me, the Final Call newspaper. Every chance we get, we should pick one of these up and just open it up and find a page and start reading. But we have a process by which we do it, in that we start on page 19, we go to page 20, and then pages after that. Page 19 is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Page 20 is the centerfold with the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Then a few pages over is our late brother Jabril Muhammad, may Allah forever be pleased with him, Farrakhan the Traveler. And then there's unveiling of the number 19 by our late wonderful sister, mother, Tainetta Muhammad. So I implore us to get this paper, use that key to unlock it, and then go back and read the other stories, and every one of them will make sense. So today, dear family, we are going to lift something from this jewel called the Final Call. And we'll get to that in a moment, but I'd like to start by starting with the scriptural reading from the Holy Quran. And we're going to go to Surah 90, Al-Balad, and that translates into the city. And listen to the words of this very, very timely chapter. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, nay, I call to witness this city, and thou wilt be made free from obligation in this city, and the begetter and he whom he begot. We have certainly created man to face difficulties. Does he think that no one has power over him? He will say, I have wasted much wealth. Does he think that no one sees him? Have we not given him 2 eyes and a tongue and 2 lips, and pointed out to him the 2 conspicuous ways? But he attempts not the uphill road. And what will make thee comprehend what the uphill road is? It is to free a slave, or to feed in the day of hunger, an orphan nearly related, or the poor man lying in the dust. When he is of those who believe and exhort one another to patience and exhort one another to mercy, these are the people of the right hand. And those who disbelieve in our messages, they are the people of the left hand. On them is fire closed over. So I read this chapter because it ties right into the events that we see taking place and unfolding right before our eyes today. You know that we're taught by the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, and of course the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught it as well, and he got it from Master Farad Muhammad, that scripture that we read, especially in the Bible, is 75% prophecy, and 25% history. So right now, I just want to lift something out of here that we're going to go to before we bring on our student regional minister. It says, and what will make thee comprehend what the uphill road is? And I want to focus on verse number 13, or ayat 13. It is to free a slave. Now, what is a slave? Slavery's over, brother. That took place back in the 1800s, the 1700s. There's no slavery today. Oh, yes, there is. And we can prove it at no limit of time. So this is why I want to go to this beautiful, beautiful paper of ours that is entitled, it's ours and yours, the Final Call News. And if we turn to page 20, as I had lifted a moment ago about where to start in the paper, start with page 19 and then go to page 20. And I want to focus on the centerfold by the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. And this particular writing comes from a 52-week lecture series that he did in 2013 called The Time and What Must Be Done. And this focuses on number 21, part 21 of that lecture series. And this was June 1st, 2013. And listen, the title of it is Modern Slavery, America's Prison Industrial Complex by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, just listen carefully. I'm going to read these excerpts, and you tell me if he's talking about something that happened yesteryear, or are we talking about something that's going on right now? So here we go. It says, How White Folks Got So Rich, written by the Historical Research Department of the Nation of Islam, discusses the prison industrial complex on pages 63 to 67. Study the sections titled Prison Industry and War on Black Drug Users as we examine the prison industrial complex to see the wicked plan of Satan to reinstitute slavery and involuntary servitude, especially among blacks, Hispanics, and poor whites. Under prison and industry, they write, most indigenous black and Indian cultures had no terms or words such as jail or prison. Isn't that interesting? Think about that. Go on, as we read on, and crime was virtually unknown. European colonization is notable for both its introduction of new diseases and its imposition of alien systems of government, crime, and punishment. Well, let's come all the way forward. So we could say it says 2013 here, but to 2025, in the land of the free. This land now boasts the highest incarceration rate in the world. It's right here in the United States of America. Did you know that inmates are contracted out to private industries to do telemarketing, manufacturing, agriculture, and bill collection? You ever get them calls on, you get that spam on your phone? More than likely, that's coming from one of those minimum security prisons. People who are calling you are in prison. They're on some kind of work relief program. This isn't the company itself. The companies are using these brothers and sisters to call you to harass you about the bill that you haven't paid. Y'all all right? Let's move on. It says, the privatization of prisons has generated profits for white people and has coincided with black imprisonment campaigns with names like 3 Strikes, Tough on Crime, and Truth in Sentencing. In the section, War on Black Drug Users, we learned that with this war on drugs, some scholars, white and black, are saying it is a war on the black man and woman of America to feed the lucrative prison industry. We can look at our prisons today and see that prisons are on the stock exchange. The corporate owners of a private prison management company proposed to prison officials in 48 states that they take over the prisons. The one thing that they insisted was that the prisons be 90% filled, occupancy rate, for at least 20 years. This is something, family. Listen, this is leading us to the question: if a prison has to be 90% filled, who's going to fill it? That is the question. So let's look at the Emancipation Proclamation, because I ask you, do you really think that Abraham Lincoln loved you so much that he wanted to set you free? Consider the following. On September the 22nd, 1862, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, which would take effect on January 1st, 1863. Now that January 1st is very key because a lot of things happen on January 1st. Did you know that we're in the holiday season, right? So right now, you know, the three major holidays of this country and this world is Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. They make the bulk of their money, especially on Christmas. And Message to the Black Man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he was talking to a Jewish merchant once. And the man told him, he said, I don't care about Jesus until around the 25th of December. That's when I make my money. I get all of my money around then. But here's the caveat. Did you know that if you waited till January 1st or 2nd, all them gifts you think you wanted to get, you can get them at the reduced price that you wanted it. Why? Because they got to put out the new inventory for the next year. So forget about that hoopla going into those crowded stores, getting into fisticuffs and people pulling knives and guns because they want that piece that's on the shelf that you want. And, you know, not us per se, but our people. I mean, we ain't out there doing that. I know. I hope not. But anyway, family, this is what this is all about, this January 1st, 1863. But I go on with the Emancipation Proclamation. At the same time, the proclamation was made, but not yet taken effect. The president offered money to the so-called slave states if they would not be in rebellion against the United States. President Lincoln also offered the slave states the right to continue to colonize persons of African descent. And finally, the proclamation offered to the citizens who remained loyal to the United States within those states who may have succeeded to be compensated for the loss of their slaves. Well, where did they get that money? Remember, when they said they was going to free us, we were supposed to get 40 acres, a mule, and $10,000. That's where the money went. And that's why we so far behind right now, because we never got the restitution or whatever we deserved for all that free labor. Yes, sir. All right, y'all all right, family? Yes, sir. Let's move on. Is that it was only after the slave states in the South remained in rebellion and rejected President Lincoln's offer that on January 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln emancipated the slaves in the South. All that means was that he sent troops down there to make sure that the former owners of our people couldn't do it anymore. Y'all all right? Yes, oh, it's so much more to this, but I'm going to read what the minister is saying right here. Yes, so now most of you, my dear and beloved brothers and sisters who are trying so hard to be a citizens, I want you to study the language of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments of the United States Constitution. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery, of course, except if you commit a crime. Think about that. And after slavery was abolished in the 14th Amendment, it defines citizenship. But why did the 14th Amendment come into existence? It is because after the 13th Amendment was passed, the South and other states began enacting what are called the Black Codes, which were efforts to re-enslave blacks. Black codes existed in the South as well as the North. And some of the states were, if you hear your state, don't call it out. But here it is. These are the states: Mississippi, Texas, South Carolina, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois. Wow. Think that over. So I'm like Malcolm now, don't talk about the South. He said, because anything south of the Canadian border, you are in the South. Right. So all these are northern states, but they had the same mindset as their brothers in the deep South. Right. Y'all all right? That's right? Let us move on, family. And then there is the 15th Amendment that came into existence prohibiting the denial of suffrage or the right to vote based on race. Isn't that what's going on now? Yes, sir. Yeah. What is it? The Inclusion Act? They're doing that right now in 2025. Yes, so they trying to, like, I'm like Gil Scott. He said they want the good old days. They want to go back, even if it's only as far as last week. they want to have, because they see themselves losing power. Losing power. Yes, and they want that, the good old days. And I'm like Dick Gregory. May Allah be pleased with our brother. He said the only thing good about the good old days for us is they gone. So backwards never, onward forever. That's where we are. Let's move on, family. It says, color, based on race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Now look, brothers and sisters, in 2013, many black leaders said by June, the Supreme Court would strike down Section 5 of the Voting Rights Bill, which requires states with a history of discrimination to submit any changes to their voting laws to the Justice Department for a determination of whether they are discriminatory. So the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the Constitution have been on the law books now since 1865 to 1870, and we are now still unprotected in America. Isn't that something? Can't you see that you are only a citizen in name but not in fact? February the 26th, 1877, two significant events, the lives of blacks in America. The Compromise of 1877 is arguably the most devastating single government action in the history of blacks in America. That is when a group of politicians convened at the Wormley Hotel in Washington, D.C. to attempt to resolve the deadlocked presidential election of 1877 between Rutherford B. Hayes and Samuel Tilden. They agreed that if Hayes were awarded the presidency, he would remove government protection of the black ex-slaves in the South and allow the former Southern slave-holding class to return to power. And in their return to power, we would be turned back to the plantation in a new form of slavery. This is the exact point in history when American whites collectively decided that black emancipation was a mistake. Stop right there. Look how now that's horrific, family. You got a group of people who got money and a little bit of power, and they're going to decide our destiny and our future and our lives. This is why, as I read on, you're going to see the other event, that second event that took place that is so crucial to your and my lives and all of the fallen humanity of today. It says, they said it was a mistake, and from that point forward, blacks would never have freedom, justice, or equality in American society. In 14 years, from 1863 to 1877, look at the progress that black people made attempting to be free. Blacks made great strides achieving political offices, developing private businesses, even setting up dozens of all-black towns, but white terrorists targeted them for destruction, as in Rosewood, Florida, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. The first bomb that ever fell on America fell on Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And many other lesser-known places, blacks lost billions in investment dollars to whites through these acts of terror. But the most ironic and profound feature of this episode is that on the same day that white American politicians decided to end black progress forever, the founder of the powerfully progressive Nation of Islam, Master Fard Muhammad, was born in the holy city Mecca of Arabia. Both events, the most significant in history of black America, happened on February 26, 1877. All praise is due to Allah for the Savior who's born and has arrived to give us the freedom, justice, and equality that we deserve. All praise is due to Allah. So family, I implore us, go back to the time and what must be done by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You can go to media.org, noi.media.org, and you can pull them up, or for the most part, they're all on YouTube. So just go back, revisit them, check it out for yourself. And you will find that even though the Honorable Louis Farrakhan did this lecture series every Saturday for 1 hour, they are so timely right now, it is though he just did them today. And in our lessons, we're taught that the black man, the original man, writes his history in advance. Right. And he steps out into it and watch it unfold. Well, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is a living witness that he wrote history in advance because he saw the condition of the time in 2013, pointing down the road to 2025 that we will be going through not just what took place in the 1800s, but we're walking through it right now. Right. So the best thing that we can do, family, is to continue to listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because he will not lead us astray. So much so that his teacher told us that when you see him, look at him. And where he tells you to go, go. And where he tells you to stay from, stay from. He said, continue to hear my minister, Farrakhan. He's a very spiritual brother. Now, we've already seen some of the guidance that he gave us. How many of us remember? It was just a few years ago. Right. Didn't the Honorable Louis Farrakhan tell us, don't take the jab? Right. Don't take it. However, if you did, a lot of our people, even some of the people who are world-class athletes who are world-class athletes who are in world-class shape were having myocarditis from taking the jab. And look at how the enemy used it. They say, well, okay, if you want to continue to play for our team, you got to take this shot because you could be endangering the lives of all the other players. And so, our people, we coming out of the hood, we coming out of the ghetto, we've never had a lot, but now the enemy is putting us in the valley of decision. Are you going to choose me or are you going to choose what God said to do? Through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So the brothers and the sisters who chose to listen to the enemy, and the enemy is a liar. The devil is a liar. That's right. He said he only tells you things to deceive you. And everybody who's done that, and they're finding out now, I don't know how they're going to do it, but on something called the Children's Health Defense, they have immunologists and virologists from the very inception telling us that the shot was bad, as did the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. But they didn't go ahead of the minister. After he said it, then they had the courage to come forward and say, yeah, well, they're not good for us. We shouldn't take it. But by that time, some people, it was too late for them because the enemy had already done his work. And you would say, well, why would he do that? Well, let me go this way with it first. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan told us once that he was riding with his teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The messenger had just did a lecture, and they were in the back seat of the car, and he said the messenger was always known for dropping profound jewels on him. And he said, he's out of nowhere, he's looked over at me, he said, brother, do you know of any man that has no good in him? And the minister said, I was perplexed because I didn't know where to go with it. I know he had the answer, but he was asking me. And so I had to be honest. I said, well, no, sir. And listen to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's words. He said, brother, then you can't fathom the depths of Satan. Meaning somebody who is so wicked, so diabolical, so sinister, that they would put stuff in your water and in your food to kill you, and you don't even know. You think you're enjoying a good meal, but you're eating death. You think you're drinking a clean drink, but you're drinking death. You think you're breathing the beautiful, wonderful air that the Allah gave to us? You're breathing in death because you can't fathom, or we can't fathom, the depths of Satan. A man who will kill you just so he can make some more money. Isn't that something? Because this whole world is based on their bottom line. They only want the money. They don't care nothing about it. I mean, as a matter of fact, they don't care about dying as long as they can get that dollar, as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So they are working on us because why did they give the jab in the first place? Why did they come up with the inoculation process? Because they say there are too many people on the planet. Well, when they say people, they talk about you and me, people of color. There are too many black people on the planet, too many dark people, too many melanated people on the planet. And we've got to cull the population. We need 3 to 4 billion of them gone. How are we going to do it? Well, Brother Joseph, how can you say that? Because one of their giants, Dr. Henry Kissinger, he was with Reagan and them, the boys. Remember him? Yes, sir. He wrote in his book that 50 years ago, it was easier to control 1 million people than to kill them. But today, it's easier to kill 1 million people than to control them. Now, they say, well, okay, we can do that, then how are we going to do it? And I remember, just go the other way with it, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that once he was in Phoenix, and he said that the sheriff department and some of the surrounding counties, they all pulled up in front of his house. He said when he came out, said, Minister Jabril was with him. He said when he walked out, he said one of the deputies reached for his gun. And he said the sheriff told the man, no, don't worry about that. We'll get him in his water. Did y'all hear that? Yes. We'll get him in his water. And right now, up in Michigan, they got a thing with their infrastructure where the water's full of lead, right? Are we so naive to believe that Michigan is the only city in America with that problem? Oh, come on now. Oh, you don't think Philly got that? No, it's worse. That's right. And I remember some years ago in 2007, at that time, Dr. Ali Muhammad was the Minister of Health of the Nation of Islam. He had came to Philly when we were down on Broad Street, and he was doing a clinic. And he tested all the believers. And all of us, he said, y'all got radiation all up in y'all. And around that same time, Fukushima in Japan had that nuclear meltdown where the reactor had exploded or whatever. And he said, I don't understand. He said, how could the cloud come across the Pacific Ocean, skip California, skip Colorado, skip Ohio, skip Chicago, come all the way to Philadelphia and get y'all? That wasn't the reason. It wasn't Fukushima, but right up the road in Limerick, the nuclear power plants, there, what they were doing some things that were really unregulated, and they didn't think they would get caught. But because of our brother coming here at the behest of one of our brothers, Saladin, who had invited him, and he tested us, Dr. Aline found that what they were doing is they were flushing out their bilges, the contaminated water, pumping it right into the Schuylkill River. Yeah. Can you fathom the depths of Satan? And yet they never said anything about it. There's radiated particles in your water. Maybe y'all should boil it, or maybe you shouldn't use it for a while until we can get it cleaned up. Well, anyway, needless to say, he went on and he did what he did, and he got it shut down. They shut down the whole plant. And I think at that time, it cost between $10 and $12 million to set down a nuclear plant. But all because of my Almighty God, Allah's love for us, a little brother that's sitting up in the ranks, Brother Saladin, called our brother here and caused him, that's his work, to look into it, and we were able to shut down an entire nuclear facility. You see the power that Allah has put in us as a people? Just a little bit of unity. We can go to work and we can take down mountains. We can move planets collectively. So all praise belongs to Allah for that. But dear family, I say to us again, while we're talking about radiation, they're poisoning the food. And we've been taught by the Honorable Louis Farrakhan that we should have bean soup. After you have your meal, if you're eating once a day, or if you're eating in the evening, the first thing that should go into your stomach is that navy bean soup. Real talk. And here's what he said. Because the navy bean soup, I believe it had, now the sisters could correct me on this, but I believe the human body requires, I think, 19 minerals per day. The navy bean has 21. So if you eat the soup, you get more than what you need, and then it has the capacity to remove radiation from your body. The bean soup. So if it's some bean soup downstairs before you leave today, take some home with you. Don't leave the mosque without it. Or if you find somebody who's making it, get you a pot. Get them to make you a pot and keep it available, because each one of us are carrying something like this with us, and we are radiating ourselves on a continuum. Y'all all right, family? So, dear family, with that being said, I hope that you got something out of what was said today. And I just want to say to us, we must continue to hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Right. We're having an all-men's meeting again tomorrow, so brothers, y'all need to be here and bring some of your partners with you. Bring your homie, bring your roadie with you, because there's some information that's going to be imparted that you got to take with you again. Like that bean soup. Don't leave the mosque without getting some.